Hey y'all, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, this is Joe and Jay Outspoken. Remember to follow all of our platforms, and you can find them by going to linktree/Joe and Jay Outspoken. Today's show is for Tuesday, September 19th. I'm Jay, and today Joe and I will be discussing the Liberty Safe Company handling of the FBI's request for access to their client safe and the controversy that it has created. All right, Joe. So where do we go from here?
We're going straight to Boycott Central, brother. That's where we're going.
Well, Liberty, how's it feel to be Bud Light 2.0? All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks for joining us today. And if you joined us last week, thanks for that. If you didn't, go check out last week's video. It is at the end of the video here, or just go to our channel and check them all out. All right, so I'm sure you all have heard, and if you haven't, Liberty Safe, the company that makes little small safes for your bedroom or gun safes for your garage or panic room doors, all kinds of stuff. They're in a little bit of hot water in the safe community and the conservative community. So what's going on with them, Joe?
I don't know. I don't know what's their thought process behind this. I mean, like everyone's running crazy. Like everyone's losing their mind saying, you know what? This Constitution it's old. It belongs to I don't know who. Let's do away with the Constitution. Let's do it something else. We're going to do things our own way. You got that crazy governor down in New Mexico who's trying to take away concealed carry.
Oh yeah,
like what's Second Amendment? Doesn't exist, right? So I really don't know. A friend of mine down here sent me a link to that, and I was reading about it. And I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean they gave the FBI access to your safe? I mean, there's proper channels to go through that, right? I mean, right. First off, I think the way it runs and works around here is like innocent to proving guilty, right? Talking about these rioters, this is the January 6th rioters. I say this because that's how they describe it. And they just, hey, I need access to their safe. Well, first off, why? Why do you need? I mean, it's their safe. They bought it. That's their stuff. Right? Go through the courts, get a search warrant, do it the right way. Why do you want a backdoor? I mean, I think this happened a while back. The FBI tried, and I was surprised that good old Silicon Valley Apple said no to them when they're trying to get into someone's iPhone. Do you recall that? While, I can't remember how long ago that was, but they told them, sorry about your luck, buddy. We can't give you that.
Right. And there was a big stink about that in the government because they said, that organizations should work with quote unquote terrorists or, terrorist groups or organizations or people or what have you. But the thing is it's like with so many things that how do you define a terrorist? Like really? I mean, there are definitions of it, but how do you so it is left up to interpretation by the, these overreaching law enforcement agencies that are at the top of the government pyramid, right? So like as a local,
let's be honest. I don't want to, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but I do not want to tarnish local law enforcement with bureaucratic politician.
Well, if
police
you hadn't
force.
cut me off, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I didn't get the notes. I apologize.
The sticky notes on this side of your computer, I went by there and stuck it yesterday. So
I didn't look at that side.
It's on the back side. Yeah. So like local law enforcement has a ton of rules and things that they have to abide by, and at this point, I mean, you look at statistics and things, people getting pulled over by local law enforcement, they're having such a harder time now because they're not allowed to do anything, right? They're not allowed to say anything. Everybody gets offended. And
correct.
Part of the thing is, back in the day, you go back to the old Dukes of Hazzard days or whatever, you get pulled over, they yank you out by your hair and hit you with a billy club or something. And, you didn't talk to the police officer bad like that again. Now they can't do that. So now it's completely the opposite. Like you were saying too, at the top of the bureaucracy and the pinnacle peak of the the federal police force, I guess you would say, between CIA, FBI, all these different guys. And here's the one little thing I'd throw in there. There are probably some really great people that work in those organizations that have worked their way up. They take their job serious. They care about the country. They care about, what they do, but it's like anything else. You can be the best player on a football team, but if you're, the rest of the team's garbage, you're kind of part of a garbage team. So
yeah. And you're absolutely correct about that, because here's the thing. There are some things that people that work law enforcement understand that, man, people have rights regardless how much this guy's a bad guy or this guy's a criminal. This guy, you have, we had Arizona versus Miranda, which created the Miranda warning, right? That we have, that law enforcement has to provide when questioning anyone that's in custody. That's for a reason, right? Because clearly there's a case that was brought to the Supreme Court and does create case law. But the thing is, those laws are there to protect both the public and law enforcement, or the public as well. Those policies are for a reason, because you don't want to go to court and you have this, as a murderer, and you're going to lose that case, or you're going to set him free on a technicality because we violated a right. And it happens all the time. This, right? That they didn't ask, they didn't bring them Miranda rights, or they questioned them without an attorney being present, so they have to toss the entire confession out. Whatever the case is, we have rights. We as the people have rights. Law enforcement has laws and rights that they have to kind of provide and follow. So when you go take that back door, right, and go to this maker, this of safes, and say, hey, I need the company's access code to get into these safes. Well, first of all, wait a minute. We make the safes. We provide them access codes. They change them. That's on them. You can't come to us, and why do they go through the back door? Because they know damn well, one, they don't have anything right at the moment, right? Because again, innocent until proven guilty, right? And so if they go to ask, that citizen has every right to say, no, give me a warrant, right? And then I'll open, and then I'll have to give it to you, But here's the thing. To get a warrant, you need probable cause, right? You need reason to get that warrant. Now, if, Biden's police up in Washington, they want to backdoor that, they're going to go straight to that company and they're going to open that. But here's the thing. Companies, they shouldn't be doing that. Like if I buy a car, right? You know how all these cars now have these little digital buttons to unlock your car. You don't need a key most of the time. Ford shouldn't be saying, hey, here's the access code to get into that car. No, law enforcement knows they can't, unless they have probable cause or reason to get into that vehicle. You need a search warrant. You can't just get in there. Right. And so just because the car company gives you that access code doesn't mean you can get in there and do it.
That's right.
So I don't know what's going on with us in society today, where people think like, hey, let's violate people's rights. Man, they don't have any. We run it now. We got old man Joe here running things, and he's going to protect us. So
I
don't know what the thought is behind liberty. But here's the thing.
Liberty.
And I know you talked about this earlier, man. These guys, first of all, they're like, they've traded hands, ownership, like people trade underwear. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. And so many companies have owned them. I know they're owned by a different company now, but the thing is, it's a investment group. So a little bit kind of like BlackRock. BlackRock, right? Everybody knows BlackRock.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like BlackRock, right? Where it's just all these investors, private investors, and things like that own a bunch of companies, right?
And it's BlackRock Investment Group, where there's also a BlackRock coffee company. So do not confuse the two.
Oh yeah, that's great coffee, by the way, guys.
It's a great coffee.
Yeah,
They opened one down the street from me now, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Thanks, bro. That doesn't help me up here in Michigan. All right, so, Black Rock, please
you'll
come
be
in Michigan.
You'll be back here soon, though, so
I'm hoping, but so that's the thing is that at what point? But here's the thing: even as terrorists, right? You mentioned terrorists earlier. Even terrorists who are not U.S. citizens, there's still laws that we have to abide to, right? Unless it's an imminent threat, then we're going to react, right? We're America, buddy. You know what I mean? We don't play around. But there's still laws that kind of govern how we treat that, how we investigate it, right?
Right.
But at what point now? Like, why are American citizens being treated this way, though? Why? I mean. Like that governor in New Mexico, she's saying that she could do this under emergency power.
Oh
man,
that's
Michelle
Grisham. Michelle Grisham, I think is her name.
Yeah, she has like a Hispanic middle name.
Is it Lujan?
Lujan. Yeah, Lujan. Yeah, Lujan. She better not be Hispanic, bro. That better be by like marriage or something, bro, because she's giving us a bad name. But she's talking about emergency powers. And I'm like, you can't just call things emergency power just because, there's some kind of catastrophe that's minor in New Mexico. And like, oh, emergency powers, guess what? You guys, I could wipe away. So that doesn't give anyone the right to wipe away the Constitution. And I think that's the big problem, Jay. I think that's where government gets confused. The Constitution is not there for the government. The Constitution's there for the people.
Absolutely.
It's to protect us from the government.
Right.
That's why our forefathers wrote it, because they knew. They knew.
Yeah, you look at the Fifth Amendment, right? So that's what we're basically talking about today, innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And there's so many folks that, you look at like a lot of the folks and I'm not saying everybody at January 6th was innocent. People actually broke stuff or hurt people or do whatever. However, the way they're being held and were treated, was honestly inhumane. And that's a big thing. Like you got murderers, right? That are on quote unquote death row. And how are they treated?
Oh, bro, I worked in that kind of environment, man.
3 square meals a day. I'm not saying it's the best food or whatever. And,
it's not. It really isn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know if you saw.
They're not treated like, you go to any other country, dude. And like, what was her name? Brittany Griner, whatever.
Griner. Your people's over there in Arizona. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
She's not my people, but
she's from Arizona, bro.
Yeah, she flies under the flag, but she wishes. Now she appreciates it. She spent a little time in a Russian prison, and all of a sudden things change. And, and that's
just
the
like
thing.
People appreciate bottled water when they come back from Mexico. Same way.
Well, they're like, why are these Coke bottles so like scratched up? Well, that's a recycled bottle. Recycled? Yeah, somebody else was drinking out of that. Probably a lot of other people, but that's why that Coke tastes better too.
It tastes good. What do you mean? You say it tastes bad?
No, I said it tastes better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think they still use the original. If you know what I'm talking about, the original formula.
They do, because over there they use sugar. Here they use corn syrup,
and not just sugar. They use sugar cane.
Sugarcane sugar. Yeah, it's like legit sugar.
Yeah,
it's not like it's better, but if you're gonna do the cheat meal, man, do it the right way.
Look,
right?
Man, if I'm gonna be diabetic, I'm gonna go full force. All right. Yeah. I'm going full force Mexican Coke.
So you were talking about like them opening cars and stuff like that. You know, back in the day, I had a BMW and it had like the system where you could just press a button or whatever, but you could also call them directly. You could give them like your VIN number, and I forget, there was like 3 things they had to identify through you.
Yeah.
And click. I mean, they open your car, dude, via your phone. So you didn't even have to have your key. Like if you left your key inside or whatever, I don't remember what happened. Battery went dead on the remote starter thing. And it's just crazy that they can do that, and they've had like OnStar, I think GM made that years and years ago. Well, fast forward to now, they want to make everything electric, everything. And that's the fear. Again, this is a little bit of like last week's episode. We were talking about, a little bit on some of the conspiracy things on over in Hawaii, that stuff. Well, now you think about like electric cars are like, don't get an electric car, because what they want to do is be able to shut your car off, and it's possible. Like, it's fully possible. And you have companies like the Apples of the world that we like them, but we're scared of them, but we have to rely on them. But, we're relying on them to do the right thing, and not, and that goes for Samsung and all the other companies that are out there that have like a lot of personal information. I mean, you think about the amount of pictures, videos, texts, things with all kinds of personal
information.
Financial information.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, look at all the companies that, Venmo me this, just press a button and it sends me
there's
$50 or whatever.
There's like 3 or 4 states now that you could upload your ID and it's legitimate into your phone. So you don't even have to carry your ID. So, I mean, I want to say Arizona is one of them. But there's 3 or 4 states. They've now, Arizona, I think, is also one of them that's allowed digital plates, where you could have a digital plate. And
what is that? The Rev plate or something like that?
So, I mean, clearly it's going that direction. But what people don't understand is the further you get into that reliability of electronics and things like that, the easier access the government could get to it, right? And that's not a conspiracy theory, because it's clearly, you have to have, if something goes wrong, you have to have an access code, right? A bypass to get to it, right? And usually those, like the car manufacturers, like OnStar, for example, has that access no matter what. It could trade hands 15 million times. As long as you pay the premium for that service, they're going to be able to access your car remotely. They're going to be able to find out where your car is at. They're going to have to, just like that. Remember that low jack back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Low jack.
Yeah. So all these things, and I get it, right? You as a consumer, can you imagine, like, dude, if I get locked out of my phone, I have everything, every credit card that's in my pocket is in my phone, right? Every information I need, dude, remember back in the days when you had to remember phone numbers in our rotary phones?
Oh yeah,
right? Yeah. You have to memorize numbers, right?
To this day, I can still remember my grandparents' phone number. Like right now, if I had to call their, and I don't even know who owns that phone number anymore, but yeah, we didn't write any. You might have written some down and then you memorized them, and
so
my never thought about it again.
So one day, I'm not gonna lie, bro, I was updating my phone, and you know which phone has to get updated almost every 2 weeks, right? Everybody knows that phone. I guess I had too many pictures, right? I don't know what kind of pictures I had in there, but anyway, I had too many pictures.
Swipe left.
and my phone it kept rebooting, bro. I was in panic mode because, like, okay, first off, I can't even call my job.
There wasn't enough memory on the
So first off, I don't even know my company's phone number to call in and say I'm running late. Right. I don't know nothing. And it is not what people don't have house phones anymore. So it's not like I pick up my other phone and say, hey, let me call here. Bro, I panicked. I'm so thankful that I went down to the store and they fixed it for me right away. They're like, don't worry about it. Where's your last backup? I'm like, just this morning. I'm like, you're good. And everything came back on. And, that's our life. So, yeah, you to walk or allow anyone to get into that, you have personal information. You need a warrant. Right. That's why people can't get into, but law enforcement can't just grab your phone and go through it, right? Unless they think that it was part of involved in a crime or something like that. They can't just do it. They can't go into your car unless they have reasonable suspicion, right? They smell weed. They see something that's clearly visible through the window. Reasonable suspicion. You could get in the car, right? And at that point, you're doing a search. If the car's going to get towed, you're kind of inventorying, right? You know what I mean? Kind of a little inventory. So things like that. There's laws that protect law enforcement to be able to do those things, because again, safety of the public, safety of law enforcement, things like that. But now you're talking about a safe, right? Now, or a phone or things like that. Man, there has to be a limit. You can't just. You can't say, hey, FBI, go out there and run amok. Do what you want. These citizens have no rights. Who are you kidding? The problem is that we haven't pushed, as citizens, I think, we have not pushed back enough. Like where we said, okay, bro, enough's enough. Yep.
Right.
No, no one
Well,
does.
you know, little side note on my, and I've heard this, and this honestly rings kind of true with me on the conspiracy theory side of things, is that they're purposely doing this and they're pushing, especially conservatives, so something does happen.
Like
They
they want
arrested
something to
the
happen.
yeah, like they arrested the guy from the Proud Boys, and I know a
Oh,
lot of that has to do with all the stuff with going on with Trump right now, but
it's
you
called. You
know,
say Daddy Trump when you talk to him, right?
Daddy Trump,
There
yeah.
you go. Thank you.
And it's almost like they are trying to, you're poking the bear to make something happen. And then as soon as people stand up for their rights, right? Because here's the thing is that you had a ton of people, and let's say we agree with it, and they were standing up for their rights to protest in the Summer of Love, in Portland and Washington State, and honestly all over the country. But those were two of the big places that they were, rioting and burning down buildings. And so you're going to say, well, they had the right to do all of that because they were exercising their right to protest. And I mean, we had, COVID had started, and uh you couldn't be in any kind of group or anything, but they said, "No, well, that's okay because you're protesting, you can be in that group." Well, all of this stuff is really hypocritical. And again, I'm
We know
saying,
this. No,
yeah, it right. And so, um, you allowed these people to do this, and all kinds of stuff went down. Buildings, but I mean, most cities still haven't recovered from all that stuff.
they're not.
So now, what happens if and we all kind of know which side of the fence people stand on that were at those riots and doing all that stuff, right? You probably had some turd birds that didn't care one way or the other. It wasn't politically charged. They
Right.
just wanted some free Nikes or whatever. But now, turn the page, flip it over, and have the other side do that. And these are people that would probably be more organized, get together, and really, you know, go after whatever they were wanting at the time. And that's what they want, because once that happens, then they can do things like martial law. They can say, see, guns are a problem, we're taking those away from everybody, we're suspending the Second Amendment, and all these kind of things. And that's my fear, because we have let them go so far that they want it to go just over the edge, just far enough where then they can really, take everything away. Because again, I'm telling you, I know there's a lot of people out there that are not big, 2A advocates like we are. And they're like, oh, why do people need guns? And, we don't need that anymore, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I tell you what,
We don't need the
if you
rainbow
look,
flag either, but there it is.
there it is. We look at, all the historical data on countries and societies that have been taken over by tyrannical governments. And there's a lot of common denominators, but there's one big, big, big common denominator that happens every time in the very beginning of the takeover. What is that?
They take their weapons.
Take their weapons away.
Why? Because you
Yeah.
can't fight back.
No, I mean, if, you and I are going to have two groups of people and we want to rule over them, the first thing we're going to do is try to take their way to defend themselves away from them, and it doesn't even have to be guns. Okay. You got a whole group of people that have baseball bats, and you take their baseball bats away from them, and you're the only side that has baseball bats. They're going to listen to you, right? I mean, this can be broken down more and more and more. And I mean, places like England, they basically banned guns pretty much. I mean, you can have I think a shotgun, and you have to have a special hunting license and all that kind of stuff.
Even law enforcement doesn't carry guns out there.
Yeah. And what happened when they really enacted most of that stuff? Well, like, stabbing started going up. People will find a way to hurt other people. That's not like, that's a given. If it gets back down to it, we're going to chuck rocks at one another, right? I mean, we're going to turn into caveman, and just no matter what, we're going to find a way to do that. But the thing is what's going to happen when the government is the only one that has a way to come in and enforce stuff with heavy weaponry? It's going to be an easy takeover. And so I always caution folks in allowing this to happen. Again, the whole reason that we have a constitution and that we have everything that we have now is because we fought against a tyrannical government, right? And some younger folks may be watching this and say, wait a minute, our government wasn't tyrannical. No, we fought against England. England wanted us to be exactly like them, just our original 13
taxing
states
us
were called
like crazy.
They were called colonies, right? What were we? That's why the northeastern states are called what? New England. New England. It was the 13 colonies of England, right? And so, I mean, they basically wanted this to be a part of.
There's going to be a quiz at the end of this podcast, guys. Make sure you write this down.
History lesson, right?
History lesson 101. But yeah, no, you're right. But here's the thing. Here's a difference that the thing that sets us apart from the other nations in the world, right, is that we have a constitution that protects the people, not the government. The people.
That's correct.
Right? The government works for us, and for some reason, somehow, some way, they are trying to eradicate. They've tried to amend it, didn't work, right? Now they're trying to remove it just altogether, saying this is old, man. This doesn't fit us anymore. This ain't 1776. This got to go away, right? But the problem is that it was written kind of like the Bible, right? That was written so long ago, right? And it's written in a way that you could really adapt to that in any decade. Any decade that's adaptable. Anyone. Doesn't matter. The Constitution is the same way, right? You could adapt it to
100%.
Every decade that we are in today, tomorrow, and 10 years from now. It still applies in the same way, right? You have that crazy teacher that's saying, show me where it says AR-15 on the Constitution in the Second Amendment. I'm like, all right.
Well, show me where it says TikTok.
It doesn't say tanks either, but you know what I mean?
Right. So the thing is, and we remember we had an episode that we did on the 2A, right?
Absolutely.
And one of the things somewhere in that episode we brought up the fact that so people will say, well, the Second Amendment doesn't apply to modern handguns, any kind of semi-automatic weapons, anything.
I got my musket still.
Yeah. And it's only for flintlock pistols and muskets and stuff like that, And it's like, okay, well, with that logic, then the First Amendment doesn't apply to the internet, to any social media platforms. It's the quill and pen. That's it, because that's all there was back then, right? And so, no, exactly. You are 100% right, Joe. It's just like everything that's written down was left open enough that as time would progress, because they knew things would change, you had the Gutenberg printing press comes along and then, you're printing all kinds of stuff and, all these, if you go back far enough, people didn't know that you'd be able to print, books and make them available to your local community, your state, your country, and then around the world. I mean, somebody can write a book anywhere in the world and it gets published and printed. And, these are amazing things. And so laws for free speech, for, the right to bear arms, all these things have to be fluid as time goes on.
Correct.
And, your president right now,
bro. I'm fighting words right there.
So, he had said something about, well, are you going to take on, because the whole reason you have the Second Amendment, right, is to
please don't mention anything he says, bro, because you're just ruining our intelligence. You're really insulting our intelligence. Bringing him up.
It dumbs me down every time I think about anything he says. But they were talking about the Second Amendment, and well, it's not for hunting and all this, which is true. It was made for the individuals to be able to protect themselves against the possibility of a tyrannical government, because that's what it was before. We had a tyrannical government that was trying to overrule our original colonies, and then what were becoming states and what eventually became the United States. And he was like, well, having that to defend yourself against the United States. What are you going to, you can't own F-15s and, and all this stuff. And in fact, people back then could own that kind of stuff. They could own, I mean, obviously there wasn't F-15s back then, but
I'm like, damn,
I want an F-22 Raptor is what I really want. So just saying, I think that's Lockheed that owns them. So if you guys are listening, if you
feel
have
free
an
to
extra
send
one,
me one.
yeah, I'll park it in my driveway proudly. None of the neighbors will mess with you, right? So, yeah, it's silly to even talk about because back then you could own a cannon. You could. Now people couldn't afford it because, I mean, it was, only the U.S. government, had just like now. I mean, I would love an F-22 Raptor. They're 18 million or something like that to build one, and that doesn't even include the armament to them and all that kind of stuff.
But
it's ridiculous.
But we're protecting ourselves from nations, right? We as individuals are protecting ourselves from, like you said, the government. But here's the thing: why are you trying to impact our rights? Why are you taking our rights away as a nation, right? They've been there for years. They've been there to protect us, and now I think what it is they're trying to manipulate so many things now, right? And they know that we're protected by the Constitution, and now they're just trying to tear it away little by little. And the thing is, you take something, you rip it right off, people are going to go whoa, right? So they're doing little by just going little by. Look at James O'Keefe. Right. He was protected by the First Amendment, right? Freedom of speech. He was press and whatnot. They raided his house. Right.
Right.
And why? Yeah. And again, this is Biden's policing. Why? Because they thought, the government thought that he had Biden's daughter's diary. Right.
Yeah.
Which talks about him, watching her in the shower, whatever that was, the creepy old Joe. Whatever the case is, that's what they thought. So any normal, okay, let me ask you this, Jay.
The sniffer.
I have a diary from our high school days. Oh yeah, I do. You better be careful.
Do you?
Buddy.
Does it have a little gold locket on it with a little key you keep on your necklace?
Here we go, bro.
Man.
Anyway, it was a gift. Okay, don't judge. Anyway, if you come and you took my diary, all right. I'm going to tell you right now, there's like 3 pages dedicated to you. Anyway, if you would come,
I bet
they're so funny. Anyway, if you were come to take my diary,
we call it the PE diaries.
Do you think? You're nasty. Do you think that I'm able to send law enforcement to your house to recover my diary at 3 a.m.?
No.
You know what they're going to do if I call my local law enforcement? I'm like, hey, man, Jay, he's got my diary. Can you go get it from him? He's not supposed to have it. You know what I mean?
Seriously?
Hey, Bob, bro,
listen to this guy.
That's a civil matter, buddy. You might want to dig. You know what I mean? Like what? I don't. Right. So what was in that diary that was national security that you had to go break into a individual's house to try to get it back? Right. That ridiculous. Nothing happened. Right. It was like brushed under the thing. Right. You have, everyone's so concerned. People are losing their minds. All the left is losing their minds about guns. Right. Oh, guns. Hunter Biden had some issues with some guns. Right. What happened to that? What happened to that?
He had
gone. Right. Swept under the rug. This is stupid. You got nothing. There's nothing. You're fine, Mr. Biden. Out of here. Right. Narcotics. What? You're sniffing cocaine on top of prostitutes? You're fine. That's a sex worker, not a prostitute. Right. So anyway, it's funny
it's
how
good for Bill Clinton.
Bro, what do you got to bring him up? Anyway, he's a musician, bro. He's one of your people. Anyway,
plays the saxophone. He's awesome. That's for Lisa Simpson's hero, I guess.
So, but it's funny, and you mentioned earlier about so us as conservatives, and you say this a lot, right? Oh, they start taking our guns. We're going to civil war. But the reality of things is that conservatives by nature, we're not violent like that. We'll protest. Right. We'll do things like
That's
that.
what conservative.
We're not gonna walk outside and start burning our community because they took our guns away, right? We're gonna try to fight it. We're gonna protest. We're gonna take it to people. We're gonna do whatever we can, but we're not gonna sit there and fight our own government, right? Our own people, because we're not fighting the government at that point. We're gonna be fighting law enforcement. We're gonna be fighting the military. That's not who we are as conservatives, right?
Right.
But
not at all, because those are groups that we probably stand behind more than anybody else does.
Exactly.
You know?
But let it be us trying to take a pornographic book from the middle school. Oh my God, bro. They're out there rioting, they're doing all kinds of stuff, and they don't bat an eye, right? They're fine. They could protest. It's a peaceful protest. They just flipped the car over with people in it. That I don't think that's peaceful. I think it's a little extreme at this point, right? So the like you said earlier, the hypocrisy is ridiculous, right? If we were trying to do something like go discover, like, hey, that's it. Let's go break into Joe Biden's house, right? And let's go take Epstein's list. Oh, bro, we would not get nowhere. Right, we'd get shot.
Not at all.
Right, they would like. What?
We haven't got anywhere.
What? You are how dare you? How dare you? But let it be. Let's say that it's something in Trump's Mar-a-Lago house. Oh, we got to raid it right now. We got to jump on that. We got to, it's a threat to the nation. Blah blah. And what I don't understand is, how are people not seeing this? How are our Americans not seeing how divided this nation is or has become, and not because of conservatives, right? Because of the progressive left has just they're not even hiding it anymore. They're like doing it right in our face, right? Like this governor in New Mexico, like telling people, I got emergency powers, and because of that, I'm eradicating your right to bear arms. What? You can't. You have, first off, you can't touch the Constitution, so I don't know what you're talking about, right? But to the audacity to even be able to stand there in a press conference and say that,
right?
Where's that come from?
Forgive me, I don't know all the details on that. So she's trying to pull, from what I understand, she's trying to pull like people that have concealed carry permits. She's trying to pull that, right?
Yeah, I believe. Again, I just saw a little bit of it, and as I'm going checking the news, I'm seeing more and more about it. I'm like, what is she doing?
Yeah, I'll have to look into it a little more, because like I have my concealed carry, right, and we share reciprocity with a lot of other states.
There's California.
The entire West Coast is off limits, but there are 26 states now. I may be off on that, but 26 states that all have constitutional carry.
Yeah.
So meaning you don't need. So like, somebody's probably going to be on here and say, wait a minute, you're in Arizona, I thought you have constitutional carry. We do, but a lot of us good citizens go and, we take classes, we do stuff that we need to do, and we get our concealed carry license. It's just if you're going to be a responsible gun owner, it's just one of the things that you should think about, if you live in a free state.
But also, with that, Jay, if you have a CPL and you go to a state that's not a constitutional carry, but they do observe your CPL from that state, that's correct. Why it's good to have, right?
Yep, correct. Yep. So there's quite a few states that have reciprocity with the group of states that do
like
that.
My CPL up here would work in Arizona. It works in Ohio,
Tennessee, Texas.
Does not work in Chicago. But it really doesn't, but that's okay. I could just stop. I could stop at a corner and pick one up. Not a big deal. Chicago, right?
Right.
But
New York. Sorry,
you know what I mean? It's funny. It's always the very blue states that don't have that. But I just feel cities. that I think as big companies, they have to. I think they forget, honestly. Like I think Bud Light forgot that the reason that name brand was so popular, the reason it made so much money, is because the common folks, right? Billy Bob,
blue collar workers, man,
rednecks from the South. Yep. Thank you, rednecks from the South. And that's the only reason I don't fear like any other nation, because we have rednecks here in America, bro. They're gonna protect us anyway.
Right?
They tend to forget that the reason they have a successful business is because we, the people. Right. We've given them that success, right? Because we buy the product, because we're proud owners of American-made product, right? And when you betray that trust, I mean, it's going to be. I think Bud Light's still suffering now. They're seeing,
They are.
their mistake is, and here, you know what? It's not even that, because I'm gonna be honest, and I know I'm going off topic real quick on the Bud Light since we brought it up. It's not even about that whole can thing, because they've been doing rainbow cans for years, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not
they have.
about that. It's about the fact that what they said and not apologizing and the whole thing,
Right.
and saying, that, oh, we're taking that image from frat boys and those workers or those people, like, we made you. What do you mean taking that image away? That's the image. You created
Right.
that image. And they helped, sell that image. Now you're going to just take it away and give it to someone who does not even drink beer.
Right.
It's like a slap in the face, right? And now you got this gun safe, right? So who buys here? This is what I don't understand. This is where my little Mexican brain doesn't grasp. You have, I think the key is in the word. You have gun safes, right?
Right.
Who buys guns?
Many more conservatives than liberals, I'll tell you that right now.
And you're going to break the biggest trust for conservatives,
Yeah.
and provide that illegally obtained access code to the government. What are you thinking, Liberty Safe? Okay, first off, you need to take that Liberty name off, because clearly you got way too liberal on that safe name, and you just be giving stuff away. All right, you need to change that up to like, I don't know, what's a good name from now, Jay? We're gonna change their name effective immediately. We're taking away Liberty Safe name. We're gonna give them a new name.
Liability safes.
Trader Safe.
Trader safes.
You can buy your local Trader Safe at Trader Joe's.
And Trader Joe's.
You like that? Goes with Joe Biden. You know
I
what
like
I mean?
that. That's pretty.
Right.
Oh man, we've got like triple whammy there.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
I thought about that right now while I'm drinking this.
Because a little bit of history on Liberty Safe.
You mean Trader
started
Safe?
back Trader Safe. Yeah, they started back in 1988 by Jay Orsby. Is that how you pronounce his name? And they are out of Payson, Utah, and they were purchased back. They were purchased like it
acquired. It was an acquisition. Let's just say it.
It was an acquisition in 2010 by the Compass Group. That
511,
also
don't they own 511?
Own 511, Sterno, Camelback, bunch of other companies. So they're like you say, an acquisition company.
You guys are lucky you don't own them anymore. Umbrella, because I like 511.
Yeah, yeah, I know, no kidding, right? And then I think last episode I had one of their shirts on. 2021 they were acquired by Monomi.
Oh,
Capital Partners,
Menominee, something like that. Yeah,
yeah. Sounds like
it's an investment group, right?
Another investment group. Yeah.
So it's owned by a bunch of people. So I think they have a sister company that donates to the left a lot.
Yeah, they do. They did. Well, Monomi Group themselves has in the last year over $400,000 in donations to only left-leaning organizations. Yeah, and currently Liberty Safe builds they do private label stuff for Bass Pro, Cabela's, John Deere, and Case Construction.
Bro. Tell me it ain't so.
So, like, if you buy a Bass Pro or Cabela's branded safe, it's actually made by Liberty Safe. So, well,
there goes your safe room. There goes your safe room, bro. They're going to give the FBI the number to our safe room, and I can't get it. Now they're going to be getting in there.
Yeah. I don't own any of their stuff anyways.
I'm done.
Yeah. There's a great company if you guys are interested, because what always happens after stuff like this, people are like, I either have one, or I was thinking about getting one because I'm new to guns and I want to get a gun safe for this or that, or I bought it really cheap. No, not me. I'm saying people.
I'm like, you're not new to guns.
So, maybe they bought a cheap one when they first purchased, they went to Costco or bought the cheapest thing online or something like that. There is a company out there, and we'll put the link here. The web address. It's called Securite Gun Storage. The company's called Securite, and they make really great gun safes, and they'll deliver them directly to you.
Are they going to give access codes to the FBI?
They're not. And
Oh,
their owner, as soon as this happened, he put a YouTube video up on there. So totally
nice.
invite you to go look at it and check it out. Don't take my word for it. Listen to them themselves. And, they give you all the access and everything. And the original codes, you can reset all the admin codes and stuff like that. So, you want companies like that are standing behind their clients and their, you know, customers and providing
respect
the
the
best. Yeah.
Constitution of the United States and your
Yeah.
privacy.
Yeah. And these guys, I mean, that's
But
again,
hey,
that's
I'm sold. Say no more, brother.
yeah.
Say no more.
Well, and you said it. I mean, who is their client? Their client is going to be people that believe in freedom, and they're usually pretty
Clearly
darn
not that much freedom
conservative.
like these guys are given. I don't know what's going on. Liberty Safe, do better, be better. Liberty Safe. Let's get away from you. The government's not buying safes from me, bro. Let's be honest, Liberty. They're not
Yeah,
buying
I doubt.
safes. Okay, it's
No,
us, the consumers, us, the conservatives, those who love guns, who protect our guns, who take care of our guns and hide our guns from crazy people. Are the ones who buy your product, and you go ahead and you betray our trust by giving it to the FBI. Come on, especially Biden's FBI. Get out of here, Liberty. Oh
right?
my God, Jay.
It doesn't make
You
any
know what?
sense.
Now I have to do. I have to go out and buy more guns so I could put them in a new safe, secured safe. Buy yours today.
Secure it saves. Yeah, we're not sponsored by them or anything, but really respect what they're doing, and
Feel free to
figured it
contact
would.
us, Secured Safe, if you want.
Yeah, yeah. If you want
Free
to give us a
advertisement.
free safe, we'd love one. So, well, listen, everybody, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I'm Jay, and that is Joe, and this has been Joe and Jay Outspoken. If you had fun or learned anything, do us a favor, like, subscribe, comment, and share. If there's a topic you would like to see us cover in the future, let us know at joeandjayproductions.com/ideas. If you would like to help the cause, it can be as small as liking, subscribing, and commenting. You can also grab merch from the Outspoken store or become one of our Patreon members. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Take care of one another.
And don't be like Liberty Safe. Do better, be better.
And as always,
God bless America.